Hello, everyone. We are doing our first lesson for this week for the Brookings Arts Council, and my name is Shelby Meyer. I'm your instructor today and moving forward. So I'm very excited to kind of let you experience art and make some fun crafts, maybe on the weekends, maybe during the week, depending on what school looks like for you. So I'm going to go over just a little bit of kind of who I am and what I do. So I am going to school at SDSU to be an art teacher. So I get to do this stuff all the time and I love it. And I'm currently student teaching this semester. So I get to hang out with a bunch of kids, really little and pretty big too. So it's a wide variety of who I get to spend my time with and really enjoying it. Really look forward to the rest of the semester. Also, I kind of want to talk about what we're going to be doing as far as lessons go, kind of the game plan for how that's going to work, and kind of what we're doing today too, because we're going to jump right in and do a lesson today. So as far as like a weekly thing, I am putting out weekly videos. So I have at least one every week, and we're going to have probably about 20 minutes or so to do the work. You can always spend more time after the video working and refining and coloring and adding things to it. There's no limit on how long you can spend. I will probably have these videos being between about 5 to 7 minutes every week, just because you don't want to listen to me talk for 20 minutes every week. You can always, like I said, you'll spend quite a bit of time making independently, and you can always tag us on Facebook if your parents want to post pictures of what you're doing, or if you want to email them to us at directorbac@swiftel.net. You can email us there too, kind of with what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what you'd like to see, your project, like the finished results, because I always love to see what you're creating. As far as today we're going to do a landscape, and we're going to talk about color and like some pattern. And so what you'll need, what I have in front of me here, is just a white piece of like computer paper, and you can use whatever paper you want. White or off-white would be best. If all you have is colored paper, by all means use colored paper. We can make it work. And then I have a black marker. This one's a Sharpie, but if your parents prefer that you use like a black school marker, that'll work just fine too. I have a pencil. I have an eraser if I make any mistakes, and then I do have some colored pencils, but you can use whatever you'd like to color with. You can use markers or crayons, or like I have colored pencils. You can even paint if your parents are okay with that. So keep in mind there is some openness to these projects, but we're going to talk about landscapes first. So kind of, we want our landscapes to have a foreground, a midground, and a background, because that's what makes a landscape diverse. So the foreground is the most forward thing in a landscape. So if you're looking in like the tree, it's like typically your center of interest too. The midground is kind of something in the middle, between the very middle and the very back. So the very back could be like the sky, or maybe it's mountains, or things like that. It just adds a little bit more interest. So today we are going to start with a foreground, and in that foreground I'm just gonna have maybe like a little hill. And so I'm gonna draw, not with a Sharpie, I'm gonna draw with a pencil first, and then we'll trace it with a Sharpie. So I'll do the whole drawing first, and I'll show you kind of as I go, just because you can't see my hands working for this video today. So I'm just gonna have just a little foreground like that, just a simple little line. Don't feel like you have to copy me completely. Every artwork is your own, and however you want to make that foreground is awesome. Next, for the midground, I'm gonna have, I think we're gonna go a little bit further up, and I'm just gonna have like mostly straight. And then while I'm at it too, I'm gonna do kind of like that, just maybe another one. Maybe I want like some hills in the background. And you don't have to have this many. Whatever you want in the background is great. And I did mess up, so I am gonna erase a little bit, and then I'll show you. So that's what we got going. And we will be erasing the other lines too once we trace with the black marker, so that's all right. And so that's what we got. So we got some mountains in the back, and then kind of just a landscape line, and then that foreground there. And I don't think that it really needs anything else. You're sure welcome to add birds or trees, or maybe you want to do like a cornfield or something like that. That's cool too. I'm also going to add a sun in the background, and the sun is right up in the sky there. It's not a perfect circle, but that's okay. So we got just a little sun up there too. And then from there, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my black marker, and I'm just gonna trace the lines that I already drew. So trying to stay as close to that graphite line as you can. And we will be erasing it, so if it veers off a little bit, that's okay. And then my mountains. And then that sun in the back. Close our marker. And then, so this is what we got so far. And like I said, it's completely fine. Look, I didn't even make the lines perfect either. So I'm going to go through with an eraser. If you have just the eraser and your pencil, that'll work. And we're just going to erase those pencil lines so that it's just the black line left. If you're really confident, you can always just use the black marker. But a lot of times the black marker is not so forgiving. You can't really erase it. And you don't really want to start over your drawing. So sometimes that one extra step is just worth it. So you don't have to completely start over your project. So a couple more lines. And then from there, we're going to add some pattern. And whether you want to do that with your pencil first and then go over it with your whatever you're using to color, that is completely fine. I'm just going to go in and I think I'm going to just use crayons. And I'm just going to start by adding some pattern. So down here, I think I want stripes in my foreground, and I'm going to use pink. And when you're using your colors too, pay attention to what colors you're using. Like, why did I pick pink? You don't have to have a perfect reason. It can be simply because you really like pink. Like, that's completely okay. And what other colors are you using? Are you using colors from the color wheel, like color schemes from there? Are you using complementary colors or analogous colors or things like that? Because that sometimes is really important in artwork. And I think it's really important to kind of understand why you do what you do. And I'm not going to do this whole section because you don't want to sit and listen to me while I color. I'm going to fill in a couple of these stripes really fast. And if you want really, really bright, vibrant colors and like not a lot of shading, markers are probably a better bet. I really like crayons because I like that you can shade with them. But it's all about personal preference and kind of what you want your project to look like. So if mine is a little bit light, maybe markers work best for you. And so I just colored in a couple of the stripes, and I'm going to go ahead when this video is done, and I'm going to finish mine too, just like you will. And so we got some stripes in there. I would finish the whole thing with that, but just for time, like I said, you don't want to sit and watch me color. You want to color yourself. And then we're just going to continue doing that for all of the midground, the foreground, and the background. And then the sun and the sky too. We're just going to pick patterns that we like, maybe polka dots, maybe like stripes like I chose. Maybe you want to do some zigzags, or maybe you want to do like flowers or like wiggly lines or whatever it is that you want to do. Like, as long as it's a pattern, and you'll do it in a different color too. So what kind of color schemes are you using? So that is the lesson that I've got for you today. And again, if you want to share what you're doing, you can go ahead and you can post it on Facebook. Your parents can post it on Facebook and tag us, or you can email it to us. So we'd love to see, and I hope you enjoyed kind of the little lesson that we got for you today, and I'll see you next week.